Hey everybody, Ari here, just taking a look at some of the Death Knight changes. So to start, just going to take a look at, what we have for our specs here. You have Blood, you have Frost, you have Unholy. I'm taking a look at Blood. The core abilities you get is Death Strike, Rune Tap, Heart Strike, and Vampiric Blood, and then Dancing Rune Weapon. You bump to Frost, you get Frost Strike, Howling Blast, Obliterate, Pillar of Frost. It's exactly what, it says, core abilities, And Unholy, Scourge Strike, Festering Strike, Shadow Infusion, and Dark Transformation. Core abilities. Basically what you're getting. If you hop over to the talents, you'll see that, I guess you get your first bracket at, 56, which is, between rolling... just realized that's Roiling Boil. It basically allows your Blood Boil ability to also trigger Pestilence if it strikes a diseased target. Pretty good. Vile Spew causes an undead minion to erupt in a shower of bile, dealing 800 shadow damage to all enemies within 10 yards of the minion and inflicting them with blood and frost fever. That's not too bad. That's a lot like the old Corpse Explosion. Except Corpse Explosion didn't disease people, I don't think. And then Unholy Blight surrounds the Death Knight with a vile swarm of unholy insects for 10 seconds, stinging all enemies within 10 yards every second, and infecting them with Blood Plague and Frost Fever. Honestly, I gotta say that my favorite one out of this is Unholy Blight. It's, almost like a passive that you can just pop on if, there's multiple targets or something like that you can, get your diseases up. The second one here, it's a bit of a defensive tier, or a support tier, I guess you could call it. You have Lichborn. It's almost identical to the way it was before. I think they might have dropped the Undead time from 15 to 10 seconds. No confirmation on that. Same ability as before, 2-minute cooldown. Anti-Magic Zone, I know a lot of people used to hate, in Cataclysm anyway, Frost was pretty big. And, a lot of people hated that you couldn't pick up Anti-Magic Zone. I know, I used it when we were doing Stag for a while, and that became pretty powerful, so I know a lot of people in raiding environments are going to be picking that up. As well as Icy Grip, it just reduces the cooldown of your Death Grip, and it causes Death Grip to reduce the movement speed of your target by 50% for 6 seconds, so PvP, and, a bit of tank talent there, with the Death Grip cooldown. And then the next one, it's, I guess you could call it a PvP tier, slow tier, Death's Advance. Your speed can't be reduced below 75% of normal movement speed. Pretty good for PvP. Shield Blades, it's the same as before, 50% reduction, and it changes device, immobilizes your target for 3 seconds. And then Asphyxiate lifts an enemy target off the ground and crushes their throat with dark energy. Haha, Darth Vader, truly. Stunning them for 5 seconds. Functions as a silence if the target is immune to stuns. So that's pretty good, but it does replace Strangulate, so, some give and take there. Next one is a healing tier. You have Death Pact, which is about the same of what it was before. You basically sacrifice your minion, healing yourself for 50% of your maximum health. Actually, it appears that you don't actually kill your minion now, and it looks like you heal for 50% of your maximum health, and your minion takes 50% of its maximum health. So you're basically swapping, sort of taking 50% of their health to heal you up. So that's actually a pretty good one. I think that might have changed since BlizzCon, because that's pretty good. It's basically a free heal every 2 minutes, and as long as healers keep your minion up or just keep a little bit of a heal on it. I know a lot of healers ignore minions, but definitely as Unholy, need to keep that up, but, helps them in the long run if Death Knight can heal himself a little bit. Personal opinion, anyway. Death Siphon, it deals a shit ton of damage to an enemy, healing the Death Knight for 75% of the damage dealt. That could be controversial. It takes a death rune, and, how much it heals you, that's, who knows. And then in conversion, 10 runic power plus 10 runic power per second. That's an instant cast. Continuously converts runic power to health, restoring 3% of maximum health every 1 second. Runic power conversion is reduced by 50% while conversion is active. This effect lasts until cancelled or the runic power is exhausted. I'm not quite sure where to do this because in most cases, runic power directly correlates to, how much frost strikes, for example, you're going to get out, or, how many, this you're going to get out. So that's going to affect your damage. So as a DPS Death Knight, I don't think that's going to be very good. I'm pretty sure Rune Strike, I'm pretty sure that went off of Rune Power as well, and if that still is the Death Knight tank big threat ability, I don't know who is going to use conversion. It's just too much of a loss in my opinion, but we'll see. Beta is beta, and many changes are getting made every day. The next one here, it's, I don't even know what you'd call this tier. It's just, another tier. You have Blood Tap. Each damaging Death Coil, Frost Strike, or Rune Strike generates 2 blood charges up to a maximum of 10. Blood Tap consumes 5 blood charges to activate a random fully depleted rune as a death rune. Basically a free death rune. Runic Empowerment, it's the same as what it is now when you land a damaging Death Strike, Frost Coil, Frost Strike, or Rune Strike. You have a 45 chance to activate a random fully depleted rune. If you like RNG, then go for it. And I'm not just being sarcastic there. There are a lot of people that do like the RNG of playing certain classes, and Cataclysm Runic Empowerment certainly has brought a lot of RNG to our class. I personally hated it. I don't like RNG. I like getting into a rhythm and, being able to perfect your rhythm and, not be at the mercy of the game. I don't like being at the mercy of the game. I think skill should, always be superior. And Runic Corruption. Sort of a different Runic Empowerment. Still a little bit of RNG there. When you land a damaging Death Coil, Frost Strike, or Rune Strike, you have a 45% chance to activate Runic Corruption, increasing your rune regeneration rate by 100% for 3 seconds. Really, it has the same chance of happening, which is good, but instead of, having a rune fully, brought back instantaneously, your rate is increased by 100% for 3 seconds, which is good because it affects all your runes, I believe, instead of just one. And I'm not sure if that can stack up or whatnot, the amount of time that your regeneration is going. I haven't actually tested it out or anything like that. But obviously with Runic Empowerment, if you don't have all your runes on cooldown, which would mean you're a bad Death Knight, you should have your runes going on cooldown every couple seconds so Runic Empowerment can continuously be working. If the time stacks up, then it works no matter what. And then the level 90 tier, obviously can't use those yet because I'm still 85. But you have Gorfien's Grass, shadowy tendrils coil around all enemies within 20 yards of a target, hostile or friendly, dealing 2200 shadow damage and pulling them to the target's location. So it's almost like a friendly death grip there, friendly AoE death grip almost. So would have been great in, hard mode Lich King, Defile. Be able to pull all the retards out of that. Remorseless Winter, this one's sort of fun. I'm sort of excited for this. I've always had some sort of obsession with the Lich King and his abilities. I always sort of liked his, I don't even know what to call it. I've always just loved his, I've loved his fight. I've always loved his abilities. And, now I get a taste of myself, with Remorseless Winter. It's instant, doesn't take any runes, has a 1-minute cooldown. Surrounds the Death Knight with a swirling tempest of frigid air, dealing 1500 frost damage to enemies within 8 yards every 1 second for 8 seconds. Each time Remorseless Winter deals damage, it reduces enemy movement speed by 15%, stacking up to 5 times upon receiving a 5th application. An enemy will be stunned for 6 seconds. So, it seems like it's a bit of a PvP talent, trying to stun people. I definitely could see how that would go well. In raids or heroics, it could certainly work as a CC. If there's adds in a raid, obviously, you can't stun bosses, but if there's a fight with adds, you certainly can use that. Or in a heroic with adds that you have to take care of. Remorseless Winter certainly could be used, just with a little bit of planning. Another one is Desecrated Ground. Corrupts the ground in an 8-yard radius beneath the Death Knight, dealing 3200 shadow damage every second for 10 seconds. While standing in this corruption, the Death Knight is immune to effects that cause loss of control. It's another damaging ability. In my personal opinion, it has a longer cooldown than Remorseless Winter. So I don't really particularly like the longer cooldown. Remorseless Winter, you could just keep that going, and the fact is, it stays with you. As you're running, Remorseless Winter is around you. It's not just a spot on the ground. Desecrated Ground, it reminds me a lot of, the Unholy rotation during Firelands, and a bit of, Dragon Soul. I never played Unholy during Dragon Soul, but if I remember correctly, you had to, take Death and Decay, and, it just sort of sucked because, boss gets moved for whatever reason, whether it has to or it didn't have to. If you put a, Death and Decay down right there, you're losing DPS because the boss was moved. And I feel like Desecrated Ground's going to be the same exact thing. Oh, the boss got moved right after I put down my Desecrated Ground. Now you're out for 2 minutes instead of just 30 seconds, of one of your probably strongest abilities. That's probably why it's in the level 90 tier. So I definitely, out of 3, I think Remorseless Winter is the best one, personal opinion. And that's not just because I have a bias for, fun Lich King abilities. Gorfien's Grasp is also pretty good, and that's probably a good close second, because it could be used to help out your raid group if you have retards in it. I don't think we will, hopefully not, but it certainly could be used. So Remorseless Winter, certainly my favorite, definitely my favorite out of all of them, easily. Let's see, I have any glyphs in here. Let's see if there's any changes to the glyphs. Anti-Magic Shell glyph, it causes your Anti-Magic Shell to absorb all incoming magical damage up to the absorption limit, so that's pretty good, instead of just, some. Blood Boil, it's the same as before, increases the radius by 50%. Bone Shield, that's a fun one, for tanks, increases movement speed by 15% while Bone Shield is active. Sort of lets you have the speed increase of Unholy Presence while being a tank. So that's actually pretty good, because I remember, sometimes during PvP I'd be, Blood Presence, I'd wonder, should I be in Unholy Presence while I'm trying to run away, or, should I just hop in Blood Presence? That's why I can try it, survive longer, Chain's still the same. Let's see, Dancing Room Weapon, it looks like that one's changed. Increase your threat by 100% while your Dancing Room Weapon is active, but reduces damage by 25%. Dark Simulacrum reduces the cooldown of Dark Simulacrum by 30 seconds, increases the duration by 4 seconds. There's a couple times I could have used that in Ragnaros, trying to use those on the ads. If I had that extra 4 seconds, perhaps I could have done it. This is about the same. Let's see. I think that's the same. So this is an interesting one. Your Death Coil spell is now usable on all allies instead of just your undead ones. When cast on a non-undead ally, Death Coil shrouds them with a protective barrier that absorbs up to 6,000 damage. That's pretty good. That's a nice thing. I wonder if you can use that on yourself as well as allies. I'm not sure. I haven't tried that. But, hey, I'm about to take a blow because I pulled threat. Death Coil. Give yourself a little bit of a bubble. That'd be nice. Death Grip, about the same. Enduring Infection, your diseases are undispellable, but their damage dealt is reduced by 30%. Good for PvP, bad for PvE. Needs to be a talent like that. Sort of a dispel. I hope I don't turn into a mage, but Glyph of Icy Touch. Your Icy Touch now dispels one helpful magic effect from the target. Don't feel like doing that all the time. Glyph of Mind Freeze reduces the cooldown of your Mind Freeze ability by 2 seconds, but also raises the cost by 20 runic power. Not worth it, I don't think. Pestilence, basically the same, increases its area. Pillar of Frost, about the same. Shifty Presence, probably good for, stance, tanks. You retain 80% of runic power for when you're switching presences, so that's pretty good. Glyph of Strangulate increases the silence duration of your Strangulate ability by 2 seconds when used on a target who is casting a spell. That's pretty good, when you're on the go, stuff like that. Unholy Command immediately finishes the cooldown of your Death Grip upon killing blow or target that grants experience or honor. I don't remember if it was a glyph or a talent, but I know we've seen something like that before. Vampiric Blood increases the bonus healing received while your Vampiric Blood is active by an additional 15%, where your Vampiric Blood no longer grants you health. Yeah, I believe that's the same. Alright, and let's see. The minors. Few minors like normal. Deathgate reduces the time to cast. Death's Embrace, it refunds 20 runic power when used to heal an allied minion. Hopefully they extend that to when used to shield an ally, because that would be nice. Geese, I think that's how you pronounce that. I don't know. Glyph of the Geese. Your raised dead spell summons a geese instead of a ghoul. Sweet. Get a little bit of customization there. Horn of Winter. When used outside of combat, your Horn of Winter ability causes a brief localized snow flurry. I'm actually going to, let's see. Can I put that on? Hey, look at that. There we go. Okay, so where's my horn? Let's take a look. Hey, look, snow. And I'm in the Storm Peak, so that's perfect. That's sort of fun. I like that. Path of Frost did, same thing. I'm hoping that they might have increased that, because it really didn't do all that much for us, Still can't jump off the top of Shatrath. Resilient Grip, it's the same when the Death Knight uses the Death Grip ability, fails, and because the target is immune, cooldown is reset. Excuse me. Tripped over my tongue while saying that. Bad. And Tranquil Grip. Your Death Grip spell no longer taunts the target. This one, right here, every DPS Death Knight should get that. Every single one. Just if you need to get the target off the tank, just because you have a retarded tank and a heroic, there is a plethora of reasons every DPS Death Knight should get that. Unless you DPS tank. Which I hope you aren't. Tranquil Grip. Great ability. I like that. That's awesome. So, we're going over the talents. Specialization. Okay, so I think let's see here. I'll activate the spec. See, only looked through this a couple times. Let's see. Now, I know there's a way to look at all the abilities I get. Clearly, it is not here. Well, I guess I can just look at my spell book. Okay, so taking a look at your spell book, you'll see that you no longer have specs here. I don't particularly like that. I feel like it's all jumbled together. Even if it has relativity to any spec, I think they should divide them, because I don't like this. My only tab is Runeforging. I don't know if that's something just for Death Knights or if it's just a mistake or something like that, but I don't like it. And it looks like, for some reason, my skill in all specializations is increasing when I when I change specs. Yay. Not sure what that's for. Figure it out. You still have Anti-Magic Shell. I believe that's the same. Expect for the Glyph. Army of the Dead. Same. Control Undead. That is a new ability, I believe. Dominates the target undead creature, forcing it to do your bidding. While controlled, the time between the undead's minions and attacks is increased by 30%, and casting speed is slowed by 20%. So that's sort of fun. Butchered that one. Same abilities, nothing really special. Just looking through real quick. I didn't look at this before recording. Live commentary, yay. I like this. Winter. Yes, have my Snow Flurry. Outbreak, same, 1 minute cooldown. I like it. Okay, so Necrotic Strike, it looks like that's changed. Vicious Strike that deals 100% weapon damage applies the slowed casting effect and absorbs the next 9,430 healing received by the target. Slowed casting clouds the target's mind, slowing their casting speed by 30% for 10 seconds. Wow. Druids beware. Healers beware. That's pretty damn strong, in my opinion. Just taking a look at more things. Got your raise ally. One of the big things that I like is now this is a little bit stronger. I know that in Cataclysm, I always was hesitant with using my Raise Ally ability simply because it was the weakest one, and honestly, I was probably one of the first people to reach to use my res every single time. So for people that are responsible with their reses, especially with Death Knights getting this, hopefully the responsible Death Knights will finally be able to use their res without having to worry about using a weak one and having it wasted. Rune Forging, let's see if there's anything special. Don't think there is. No, nothing special with Rune Forging. Still get our uber strong Rune of the Fallen Crusader. I just hope they update the spell effect so it's a little bit more, look at me. On a Pale Horse, that was one of the frost spec things that you could spec into. And now it's just a skill. You become as hard to stop as death itself. The duration of movement, slowing effects used against you is reduced by 30%, and your mounted speed is increased by 20%. This does not stack with other movement speed increasing effects. That's sort of fun because it was useless to spec into, so nobody had it, and now everybody has it, regardless of spec. And then the last two, Soul Reaper. This one is a new one. It takes a death rune, and from my understanding, it's pretty damn strong. Strikes an enemy for 100% weapon damage and inflicts the target with Soul Reaper after 5 seconds if the target is below 35% health. This effect will deal 58,480 additional shadow damage if the enemy dies before this effect triggers. The Death Knight gains 50% haste for 10 seconds. Pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. It is a execute for Death Knights. Now, from my understanding, or from what I have spoken with some other Death Knights, this is going to be the kicker for the specs of Mist of Pandaria for Death Knights, because a lot of people believe that because this ability is so strong and because it uses shadow damage, it will benefit off of Unholy's mastery, and it will be even stronger for them, and therefore it is going to rule the spec, and it's going to force everyone to play Unholy if you want to be a successful PvE Death Knight, which I'm sort of big frown. I really want Blizzard to let Death Knights play the spec that they want. We've been in this flip-flop for the past 4 years. Ever since Death Knights came out, we've been changing specs almost every single tier, and I'm getting sick of it. It's not very fun, but we're dealing with it. But beta is beta, and hopefully they take note of that and make some sort of change that allows Frost to be, competitive with Unholy. That way people can choose the spec they want. And Wisdom of the Four Winds, you get it automatically at level 90, and it allows you to fly in Pandaria. I like that. Leveling in Cataclysm, it took me less than 24 hours to go from 80 to 85, and I barely saw anything, because literally, I completed quests. Mount up. Take new quests. Mount up. Complete quests. Rinse, repeat, over and over again for about 24 hours until I hit 85 and got right into gearing. I think this is good because I think it's going to force people to see a lot of things. I think it's going to let them, sort of stop and smell the roses instead of, drinking their coffee as fast as they can and, leveling instantaneously. There's some people that won't care regardless, and they're literally going to be on autopilot for the first 48 hours of the game's release. But hopefully for, the less hardcore players, I'm not going to say the casual players, because I'm certainly not hardcore, or I'm certainly not casual. Well, actually, right now I'm casual, but when a new game comes out, I'm certainly not casual. But I would like to stop and smell the roses, because so far, from the Panda starting zone, it looks beautiful. Beautiful, stunning. So there you go, that's most of the Death Knight changes. I sort of butchered a lot of this commentary, just reading over a lot of stuff fast, and I didn't look at anything before, but I did want to make this video. So, with that said, there's a lot of changes, a lot of interesting changes. It looks like a lot of it's for the better. My only big complaint is, Soul Reaper being off of additional shadow damage. I think it should just be additional damage period. That way it affects everybody, in my opinion, or something along those lines. I'm certainly no dev, and I haven't seen the numbers or anything like that, but I would like to see, which spec is so superior, when it's all said and done. But, like I said, beta is beta. So guys, there you go. That's the first look at the Death Knight changes.